Hello, everyone. This is Monique Lynelle again for Monique Lynelle's Living with a Purpose blog. And today's topic is going to be enduring in failure or during failure. So, the month of June is going to be about enduring. So what I mean by that is like when you feel like a failure or you tried to do something like today I was trying to do this jewelry business stuff and I know my link worked and I know that I know that I invited some people. I tried to do something different to get different results just to see what would happen. And I was like, okay, I'm on here. It works. I don't know. So maybe just people aren't interested, but a lot of people do lives. I'm not really into doing lives all the time, but I could try it. I have tried it before, and it just seems like something always happens when there's something live going on, and I just I'm just like, okay, well, it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, it could be a lot of different things. So, anyway, and those things could make someone feel like a failure, but I know I'm not a failure. Like, if God before me, who could be against me? It's like, whatever. So, um, simply put, I just was kind of scaling back with this particular thing, but I still have it. And I think so many things are cute that I have. And I'm like, other people should have them and be able to give gifts and da da da. So let me think of some people instead of letting me just hold it to myself while I'm not really out there because I was going to different places and stuff. So, anyway, certain things can make you feel like a failure. I particularly don't. I just don't. So, but when you go through certain stuff, you could feel like that. Like the fact that I was pregnant 5 times. I spoke about it before, when I talked about my daughter, but it was other times. And the thing was, who knows what actually was the issue because they can't seem to find what the issues are. My twin boys, their heartbeat stopped. But it was the day after I got some medicine at the ER for an allergic reaction. So who knows if they gave me the proper medicine, and other doctors said that shouldn't have caused any problems. But to me, I'm like, well, nothing else, could have been the issue. So did they give me the medicine they said they did? I don't know. But at the end of the day, nobody came up with any reason in the whole entire world for each pregnancy. And with my daughter, I went the longest while I was in South Korea. And I was stationed there. So I was like, is it America? I'm an American. I was born in Connecticut. I grew up in Philadelphia, I'm in Maryland now. And I've, served my country. And I'm just like, what the heck? They say nothing's wrong with my womb and all this stuff. But some women who have miscarried or, haven't been successful, if I had gotten remarried, I would have been trying. So, that would have been a thing. Like I would have been trying to see but I can't do that when year in and year out it's not the right relationship for me. I'm just like, well, where's the man of God for me? You know what I mean? God made a lot of people. There's billions of people out here. I only want one husband. One. Okay. And I don't really need to pedal backwards. I need to move forward. You know what I'm saying? I've let the other things go, forgive, and move on. And so something better has got to be out there. So that's another thing. With divorce and wanting a new good relationship, and I'm closer to God now, it's different. Somebody could have felt like a failure from them divorcing. And initially I did. I felt like, well, is God going to forgive me? Is this so bad? And da 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 da. But what God has put together, no man should put it asunder. A lot of times we just did what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it, and we weren't even close with God when we got married. That's a lot of people. And so when it doesn't work, you're like, oh, well, did you ever pray to God about it? Well, was he ever a part of it? So when it ends, was that really something God put together? I felt like God was giving me a way of escape in my marriage because it wasn't holy. It was like bat the crap crazy. It was just not serving any good purpose. But instead of me looking at it like a failure, I look at it like an opportunity for the right guy to be in my life for the rest of my life. And since I haven't met that man, or if I met him, I don't know it's him. But, anything could happen. I'm not dead yet. So, right? But failure could consume people with business, with life situations, this loss of job thing. Some people feel like a failure, like I was doing good in my job and they could just throw me away like that and they don't even care whether I'm going to be okay. And I have bills and I have responsibilities and I have things I need to do and handle. Well, you could feel like a failure. But what I'm here to say is that when you endure, that means to go through, like to get through something. You're not giving up. You're to endure to the end. Like it's like a marathon. That's what life is like, a marathon. And you could start one way, but some people could be running really fast or walking really fast at the beginning of a marathon, and they don't make it to the end because they were going at a speed that wasn't conducive for them to be successful at completing it, and they don't finish. But someone else could be at a steady pace, and with that steady pace, they could finish because they endured to the end. And with endurance during a time of failure, whether it's a miscarriage or a divorce, whether it's a loss of a job or relationship, you're not a failure. It just means that you have had something that wasn't necessarily successful for you. A lot of people, there's statistics that talk about businesses in the first 3 years not thriving. A lot of time people don't break even with their money that they invested in a business until after the 3 years. But if you never endure and you don't put in consistent work or time, you won't see that from that. And some people just need to see you out there and doing certain things, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, let me check it out, oh, let me come around, or oh, let me, but you've been consistent for however long, right? And so with certain things, you have to think about whether you want your whole life to be placed on this one moment or this one thing that you failed at. If you failed a test or you got a bad grade, that doesn't mean that's your whole collective grade. But if you got A's on everything else, that F might affect you getting an A+. However, there might be extra credit that you could do. There might be something else, there could be a project. When I was in my master's program, I was having extreme migraines, and I started to see dots and everything. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. I had to go to the emergency room. My blood pressure was extremely high. They had to end up doing a CAT scan. They put me on an EKG thing. This was like in 2014. Well, yeah, around 2014. So I was still in my program and I had an assignment that I needed to finish. And I was like, oh my gosh, but I was dealing with this issue and I had to go to the ER. So I was in there all night. I wanted to finish my project. Like we had assignments due each week. So technically I had an excuse, but in the master's program I was in, it didn't matter. If you were going to be late on an assignment, you were going to get 50% off with an excuse. So if you didn't have an excuse, you would just get a 0 for that grade. And the classes, it was like 4 weeks. So each week it was a project. It was very intense. It was very intense. And I was working full time as a assistant salon manager, and I just was like, I had to close like 3 days out the week and open the salon 3 days out the week. I had to make sure I had certain responsibilities at that job, and it was time consuming because I couldn't just be on my computer like at some jobs. You're on your computer, you can look up different stuff and find out different stuff, while you're there. Like you could be looking up stuff. I couldn't even do that because I was doing hair and I had to be on my feet and I had to, tend to other people's needs the whole time. So when I left, I had to go home and literally do my homework. I still got a 3.67 collectively, but that grade was cut in half the day after. Because it was due that next day. And I was in the ER and I was able to get 50% because I was in the ER and I had a note from the ER. So I felt like, oh my gosh, I was getting all these good grades. So I didn't want something to bring my grade down. When I was about to finish the program, they said if someone wants to bring up one of their lowest grades, then to seek us out. And so I was like, okay. And when I did, they allowed me to do this extra credit project, and I was able to bring up my lowest grade. So that was part of my lowest grade. I still ended up getting I think a B minus, or maybe I got I think it was like a B minus. It might have been a C plus. Anyway, I brought it up to an A minus from doing the extra credit. So my collective amount of classes, it was like 12 for the whole year. So, it made my grade go up. But if I stayed stuck in my mind, like, oh my God, I failed this particular assignment and it's going to lower my GPA, and just gave up. No, I asked, could I do anything? And when I did, they said, oh yeah, we can put this to whatever your lowest grade is. So I was like, absolutely. So that's exactly what I did. Is I made sure that I got that assignment in, and it brought my grade up. Now I should have been valedictorian. I was trying to get a 3.8. So, but we ended up not having a valedictorian, even though I think I had the highest grade in the class. So anyway, I'm still very appreciative that I was able to finish, and I still got an okay job, an okay grade. I did a good job while I was still working more than 40 hours a week, and I was able to still pull that off. So I had to endure to the end, though. I couldn't let that moment stop me and say that this is failure. And in business, sometimes there's ups and downs, and you have to try different things and try new things. And one thing might not be the thing that you do all the time. Something else might be, but I endured to the end with that program, and I finished and I graduated, and I was thankful. So that's just one example. That's been like 11 years ago now. So, yeah, I'm very thankful for that. But I just want to encourage you all to endure, even in failure. Just, you have to think of it, okay, like I need to regroup. This didn't work. Let me try something else. And I'm a person that in my life now I want to do different things to get different results. Just not do everything that everyone else is doing just because they're doing it, because it might not work for me. And so I have to look at that and be clear about it. Like I'm not everybody, and everything someone else does that works for them doesn't mean that it's going to work for me. It doesn't mean that it's not, but it doesn't mean it's going to either. So even in failure, be steadfast and unmovable, continue forward and endure even in failure. So that was today's Monday motivation. And this is Monique Lynelle for Monique Lynelle's Living with a Purpose blog. And I'll see you next time. Monique Lynelle, 10-4, over and out.